Welcome back to GBGuns, back from the range with the Bear Creek Arsenal Bear Essential in 76239. And gotta say, I was pretty impressed with the thing. There's a few things that I want to go over first before we get into this. One of them is magazines. So I had heard that ASC and C products were the two magazines to go for. The ASC is a 30 rounder, the C product's a 28 rounder, and well, magazines have been the biggest issue with 76239 ARs since the beginning. You saw the tabletop, you know that the rounds don't like to stack straight, and so the magazine well that an AR requires, that dictates the end or beginning, depending on how you look at it, of the magazine being straight like this, can cause some frustrations. The gun shipped with ASC mags. We got some ASC mags from Gun Mag Warehouse, and also a C Products Defense magazine to try the two. We did have a couple issues with the ASC mag not picking up the last round. The C Products magazine fixed that. So I wanted to look at the two and see what was different. The C Products mag follower will not tilt. The ASC mag does. And I'm wondering if it was maybe just sitting a little low towards the end there and got kind of hung up, and that's what caused the last round to not feed every time. It's a possibility. Another thing I looked at is on the spine here, you can see that the C Products magazine gets wider. See the gap between seam here? As it needs to, because when that curve happens, the rounds have to sit wider. The ASC magazine does not have that. The finish on the C Products magazine is a little bit nicer, of course. But anyways, so if you're looking for magazines, the ASC does work, but not 100%. The C Products did. The other issue that we experienced were some failures to fire. And I don't know if that's from the ammunition used or from the hammer spring being a little too soft. Now this is the GI style trigger that came in the Bear Creek. It wasn't with all ammunition, it was just with some of the stuff that had harder primers. I was aware that was going to be an issue to begin with. With any of the Russian ammunition, you just, sometimes that's what you get. So if you do, when you see those failure to fires in our shooting impressions, I'm assuming it's either the hammer spring causing the hammer to hit too soft, which is also coincidentally how you get a nice light trigger or a lighter trigger, or if it was the ammunition. Either way, I don't want to 100% blame the gun for that. The other piece, and this is something that 76239 ARs have been notorious for, is wear or stress on the bolt carrier, or the bolt itself. So I zoom in here, we can get the camera to focus on the right spot for you. The bolt face has to be opened up quite a bit to allow that bigger casing in there. I addressed this in the tabletop video. And what happens sometimes, especially with the steel case, is since you've got less metal there, you can end up with some breaks or cracks on the end. This one looks good. Now we only have a few hundred rounds through it, but no issues so far. And I gotta say, this bolt face looks somehow to be a little bit meatier than what I've seen on some other 76239 ARs, and you can tell obviously by the shaping on here that this is Bear Creek's own bolt carrier. It's not just a standard GI one. So with all of that noise out of the way, let's get into the shooting footage and see how this gun performs. The Bear Creek Arsenal Bear Essential in 76239 here. Start things off with full mag +1. We're using a Red Army standard ammo, which I believe is loaded by Vimple, same folks who did Golden Tiger. Want to mention that the gun ships with an ASC mag. We had some issues with the ASC mag not picking up the last round, so I'll be using some C Products Duramags instead. See how this guy does? I have a feeling this one's about to get toasty.
a failure to fire. Not sure what that was. We'll pick up afterwards and see what it looks like. Another failure to fire. And it locked open. So the two that didn't fire, you can see we've got a good hit on the primer here. Looks deep enough to me. We have experienced other issues like that with this gun and the Golden Tiger ammunition. I don't know if the hammer spring isn't hitting hard enough or if it's the ammo, because of course with 7.6239 that's always a big variable, at least with this Eastern European produced ammunition. Out with the Bear Creek Arsenal 7.6239 Bear Essential. We've got our Optics Planet targets way out there at 100 yards. Sorry, the zoom's a little slower on this camera. And Matty, AR, and Graham are each going to be shooting 5 rounds of each of these loads into the same target. So we're looking for consistent accuracy, not just one shooter having a good day or bad day. We have 122, 123, and 124 grain loads. Our lightest comes from Red Army Standard, Sentry's load. Then we've got Wolf. We also have Golden Tiger, that's Vimple, which should be the same as the Red Army Standard. And then we've got Hornady's Black and SSA from Nosler. Let's see how 7.6239 can do. It's never really known for being a super accurate load, but maybe that's different when it's in an AR and you've got proper ammo. So, accuracy, how did it do? What we're looking at here is collective groups. So 5 shots from Matty, 5 shots from myself. That's showing you the consistency. These 3 targets are our steel cased ammo, and they're about 3 to 4 inches at 100 yards, which is not bad at all. And it looks like regardless of the brand you're using, you can expect about the same results, which is really cool because the steel case stuff is cheap. This is our Hornady Black. You can see much more consistent loading. These little the stringing of vertical or side to side is probably more from the shooters than the ammo. I bet that could be tighter. It's also roughly a 3-inch group. Each square is an inch. Once again, group size is not so much of a big deal here because it's 2 shooters and 10 shots. Most people group for 3 or 5. I wanted to see overall how the rifle was going to do. And then our Nosler here, ignore these, this is from another gun, another video. This Nosler though, really, really impressive. This is their SSA load, and we're looking at less than 2 inches. It's inside of the box with a couple flyers, but for 10 shots, under 2 inches of 7.6239, you're hard pressed to find an AK that can do that. So this Bear Creek Arsenal Bear Essential rifle gives you all the AR aftermarket that everybody loves, and customizability, familiar controls, with an increase in accuracy over an AK, yet delivering that harder hitting energy at close ranges that 7.6239 provides. So all in, it's a pretty cool combo.
My impressions of the Bear Creek Bear Essential 7.62 rifle. I didn't have an issue with it. Aside from the fact that it had a feeding issue with the ASC magazine, but then we switched over to the Duramag and it fed perfectly fine. recoil was not bad for a 7.62. Although the way that we have it positioned, for my height, I had it kind of more in my collarbone than my shoulder. So I was definitely taking more of a beating there, but that's an operator issue, not a firearm issue. The barrel did tend to get a little bit hot there at the end, so we did have a little bit of a mirage going, but that is to be expected. Trigger pull was nice. Overall, it's just, I love Bear Creek, so it's a good rifle.
So if you made it this far, you know that overall I'm very impressed with the Bear Essential 7.6239 AR, and I mean, how could you not be, right? You're getting the energy of 7.6239, you're getting the customizability and features of an AR. Seems like a win-win as long as you have the right magazines, right ammo. That Nosler SSA sure made one heck of a group, and I had a lot of fun with this thing. I think I'm definitely going to hold on to it and take advantage of some of that AR modifications that are out there. Also wanted to, in case you missed the tabletop, point out just how beefy this barrel is. It's rather heavy in the hand, but look, it's larger than the gas block. Beefy all the way out to here. So nice heavy barrel to hold on. This handguard does provide access to the screws there for the gas block, which is good. I did have one of them come a little loose on me. Was not a big deal. I could tell because I was getting some black blasts of gas on my hand out the side here, which is, well, you can see a little bit of gas mark on the handguard there. Not a big deal. It does not burn you. It's just warm and makes your hand dirty. And the ejection was very weak, and that's how I could tell there must be a gas leak somewhere. Took a hex key to that gas block screw, and everything tightened up and worked just fine. So, very impressive gun here. I think a really fun combination and one heck of a deal. As a reminder, GBGuns followers do get to save 5% on anything that we have reviewed from Bear Creek Arsenal with the code GBGuns. We're not, there are no kickbacks from this. We don't make any money off this. It just helps Bear Creek know that GBGuns fans are watching the Bear Creek videos, and it helps us get stuff in to create content like this. Thanks for all of your support, and thanks for watching.